Tom here, Flip Anything USA. So today I'm going to kind of reach out to wholesalers. Listen, wholesaling is like a baby step before you make real money. And it's something that the wholesaling that I've done when I've actually wholesaled a deal, and I bought properties from wholesalers, and I'm continuing to do so right now, in part because a lot of them are starving. They're not making very good deals. But if they're lucky enough to kind of get something under contract where there's still a little bit of room, I'm happy to take them out of it. And a number of the people in my mentorship are. So I want to invite you wholesalers that have, real wholesalers that are actually, making a living or making a deal happen here and there. And even, the juniors, the ones that maybe are still getting started. Just send it to me at tom@flipanythingusa.com. I got my email down below, but tom@flipanythingusa.com, and I'll take a look at what you got. And I've actually got some cash burning a hole in my pocket, as do many of my students. And in fact, I've got Chris actually just bought one. He just bought a property, already flipped it, did pretty well. It was also wholesale. I've got a house that's going to close on the 14th. Got it from a wholesaler. It's a tough business, and it's like, you guys know I'm not a big fan of pace Morby, bite-sized chunks. In fact, I was just looking at this guy here. What's this guy? Yeah, I think this is Mr. 84 here. This kid here with the orange shirt, Ryan Schroep. And I have to wonder if he doesn't actually just work for Pace, and I'll tell you why I say that. Take a look at this. Here's Ryan Schroep, and I'm sure he's a nice kid. Ryan he goes, I wonder what you were going to make up, or he did some shitty comment on one of my posts, and he looks like a nice kid, and I've got kids his age, so I'm not going to be too hard on him, but for him to do a testimonial for Pace Morby, it seems a little funny, because look at he's wearing. He's got a sub-2 shirt, he's got a sub-2 hat, and he never mentioned what he made, never mentioned a peep about what he made, and he seems to bounce between the same two. Phoenix, where Pace is, and I think Florida, where I think also Pace is. So, like again, it doesn't pass the smell test. But Ryan, if you ever want to come on, I'd be glad to interview you, and maybe you can explain your 84 deals and why it's so great and why it's so important and so good. Because without any numbers, it's meaningless. But anyways, hey Richard, good to see you in here. Anybody, what do you got on your mind right now? Anybody? What do you 40, 50 years old, is it too late to invest? Saw that headline. I think Zuber actually sent me an email to that effect. And he made a good point. He said, well, are you going to be alive in 10 years? What's cool is like I say, here's a guy, 50 years old, right in there. He's made $2.5 million, his first deal. Or not his first deal, but, probably his 10th deal. He had actually done several, he told me, I think 6-7 six-figure flips. And then he hit a big one, man, over $2 million. And Jerry's a great guy. I really, really love talking to him. And he's the kind of guy that when he, comes into the room or the Zoom room or whatever, he kind of brightens the whole thing. Just a super positive family man. And he's typical of really a lot of the people that I have in the class. All these people you see right here, off here, that I've interviewed, you should check these interviews out. Because, by the way, I'm not taking anybody in the mentorship. In fact, I'm not even going to I normally do the Thursday night webinar, but I told everybody I'm not taking any students after the 15th. If you're on the mailing list, great. You'll have an opportunity to get in before the 15th, but that is going away. Chris, what's the criteria? What do you mean? I'll look at anything. I don't care if it's commercial, industrial, office, residential, even land. Doesn't matter to me. Hey, Michael, glad to see you in here, buddy. Listen, I've made millions and millions of dollars on apartment buildings, on houses, and most people can't make this claim, and that's why they don't demonstrate that they can. But I can, and I do. I buy everything, and so I'll just give you an example here. Look, these are all properties that I've personally purchased that you see right here, and it covers pretty much the whole gambit, right? These are apartment buildings. See these? These are apartment buildings. I bought all those. Nobody else, just me. I am actually trying to beat out another group right now, and I beat groups out all the time. People form a group, and we're buying this as a group, and some of the not so bright realtors think, oh, well, it's a big group. It's a big group. Well, a big group is a big bunch of bullshit and a hassle because it means they got to have, they need everybody's money. They have to get everybody to agree. That's a nightmare. When I buy something, it's just me, just my money. I'll take it. I won't take it. And if I say I take it, I'm going to take it. The group gets in there and they're like, so we'll take it. And then they go back and find out, well, Joe is kind of getting backpedaling and Harry, he's not so sure. And wife's getting worried over here, and so they're not a powerful group. It's a group of weaklings trying to make a deal, and I don't knock it, but it's nothing to be afraid of when you're up against a group. Don't ever worry about that. It's an advantage, and you just got to quickly explain to the people in the room that well, thank God, because groups fall apart. I'm one solid monolithic buy-in machine, and so that's what you want to do. So look, hey, if you just got here, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you want to learn about real estate, I've got a mentorship. You should really take a look at it. I've got a book. Also, my book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. It's been a bestseller on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle. And, you can read the reviews on it and check it out. And no pressure if you just have an interest to watch and, kind of be a voyeur. That's okay of real estate. That's fine. It doesn't matter to me. What stage of the wholesale will you accept? You'll have to explain that to me, Chris. What are you talking about? I will, if you have a property that you have tied up, I'll do an assignment. In some cases, if you have a property and you don't have any, you don't feel like you can close the deal or talk to the people, or, you don't have any confidence in yourself, and there's a lot of that, I may just give you a referral fee and just hand them to me, and I'll talk to them directly. And I'll make it happen. I don't pay as much for a referral fee than I would for if you got a contract signed where we can just assign it and I'll take it over and I'll pay you and I'll close the deal. So it doesn't matter. What do you got? Tell me what you got. Anybody else out there? Any wholesalers? Give me some wholesalers here, right? And in fact, maybe some of the people that just sold me some properties recently will jump in. Most people, actually, some of the people I bought properties from, they don't even know that I exist as far as on YouTube, but they do know I'm a good bet. If I say I'm going to buy something, I buy it. And really, that's really important too, by the way. Those of you that, and you wholesalers got to be careful. I've seen, I get approached by a lot of people all the time, and the successful wholesalers, they already know there's got to be a decent margin of profit, or I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to screw with it. But if they bring me a deal where there's, it's 10 or 15% under market, or, even 20% sometimes isn't enough for me. But if it's in that 10, 15% range, it's like you're wasting your time. You're wasting my time. And so, they'll bring me something and I'll see it go right back on the MLS. And then oftentimes I'll make a deal direct. But what I really look for is, the wholesalers that come to me, is I kind of quickly educate them on what it takes to satisfy me, and then as soon as you get your stuff, I'll look at it and I'll say yay or nay. It's done. It's that quick. So I don't like wasting anybody's time, mine or yours. So what else? Who else? What are your thoughts out there? Anybody buy a wholesale deal lately? Anybody made anything that they're excited about? Or I did a deal this morning. I expect to make, I figured about to make 100, but I think it's going to be closer to 170. And it's easy. It's easy, And this is just piece of land in this case, and that is, it can be land, it can be houses, it doesn't really matter. And so back to that point. What do you guys, Chris, what do you specialize in? What do you specialize in, Chris? So, like, I'm going to talk to you. So, like, these are all houses that I bought, none of which were wholesale to me, but there's others that I have that I'm not even going to show. Maybe one of these was a wholesale down here. This actually kind of, sort of, this was a referral fee. See, when I bought this is a restaurant. The person, they just said, hey, I know where there's a deal. And I told them, you point me to a deal, you think you got something, I'll take it, I'll clear it up, I'll buy it. And if I do, I'll just, this is just handshake, word of, just my word. And on that one, they just gave me the name and number. I went over there, bought it, closed it within a week, and I gave the person that just referred it to me, I gave her, it was a woman, $5,000. In fact, she actually rented from me. She rented this house right here where you see. I had a house right here. She would walk over and get her Mexican food at this little Mexican food restaurant. She went over there and found a note on the door, found out what was going on, called me. I came over, and by the evening, I had a handshake deal, and I had a $720,000 purchase, owner financed, 3% interest. That's how fast things can happen. Michael, yeah, you got a question? Go for it, buddy. So Michael actually had gotten into the Gator, right, Michael? That's you, isn't it? Michael jumped into Gator, and he said it was one upsell after another. And when he got to about the $10,000 level and started to get upsold to something else, he said, I'm done. I'm out of here. And, unfortunately, a lot of people feel scammed by different things. And, it's not that complicated. When people are reaching out and told they need a helper to buy, to close, to sell, I mean, that's just so stupid. Look, all you need is the title company. It's like going to when you go buy a car, you go to the DMV. They take care of all that bullshit, right? You need to sell it. Well, go to an agent. Agent takes care of all that bullshit. It's no big deal. So Michael wrote, is there a way to buy vacant properties where the owner has passed and has no family? Yeah. I mean, usually somebody is going to end up handling the probate on that property. And, I can tell you, I'll show you something. I'll show you where somebody made $5 million, right? $5 million. This is back in the 80s, late 80s. And I'll just show you where it was. Let's see. So this is over in California, but it was in a place, let's see. Yeah, it was over here. It was right here. It was some farmland, right. That might even be it right there. Let me just, that ain't it. That might be it. It was 160 acres, right? Quarter section, right? And this guy got in there, and an old man had died. His kids came out, so he did have people to pass it to, but they were estranged from their dad, and they didn't pay attention. And they came from Oklahoma, where property's $100 an acre. And this guy was the only guy in the room, other than the not so good realtor from Century 21, and the brother and sister that didn't seem to know much about their dad who died. And basically they literally sold the farm for $1,000 an acre. They sold $5.5 million worth of real estate for $160,000. And the one gentleman that bought it, he was very nervous because he was excited about it closing. It was the biggest Christmas gift he's ever had. And when it closed, he sold half of it for $2.5 million, and then he sold the other half for $2.9, and he made $5.5 million, or 5.32, something like that. Because he paid $160,000 for it. So those that's why I tell you guys, a lot of times money, inherited wealth is the fastest squandered asset there is. Alberto Cruz. Tom, how do you find out what a property is worth before buying it to see if it's worth buying? Well, Alberto, I study the area I'm always looking at a property. So in other words, look, this is a good example. All these properties you see here. And sometimes I have to get a quick lesson. Look at this. This is like, there's nothing out here. There wasn't hardly anything out here in the desert, 35 years ago when I was buying property out here in this desert. But I still could go in and I could see what was turning. I could see what was sold, and I could find out who was buying it. I could find out how recent how long it had been since it last sold, and I'd have an idea what a 2.5 acre parcel is worth, 5 acre parcel, 1.25 acre parcel. A lot of this land, I can tell you, people go out there and they just divide the shit out of this stuff, and they cut it up, and then they sell it, to people that, just want to buy a piece of land that may be in the path of progress, maybe a long distant path of progress. This particular area was getting hyped at different times because of a future airport. Now take a look. See that? There's an airport. And they kept saying, oh, international airport. And then they would hype the land around it, and disingenuously so. They even had a little land magazine they created that they would specifically send to people that were interested in buying, and they would kind of make these people who would inflate their hopes. It's pretty shitty. And but you got to understand, there's scammers in the 80s when I first started in real estate, and guess what? There's scammers all over YouTube. Most of them are scammers. In fact, I was talking to somebody you'd all recognize, kind of a legitimate real estate YouTuber that's been very successful. And, he told me, he goes, I don't really want to get lopped into the, with the scum and the fake gurus and being and that's the problem. It even happens to me. People come in and say, liar, you're a liar. When I show and demonstrate, all this shit in property that I've really purchased. And, they just can't believe it. And I feel bad because and I understand people finding it hard to believe, because look, you can see I buy property. I don't go very far. I buy a lot of property, and I don't have to go far to make it happen. And most people do not understand that. They can't believe it happens. And then, like I say, look at here, all these properties. I bought every one of these properties, not a group, but I'm opening I'm opening up to buying more properties, and I've got a lot of students now that are likely to be in the area where some of you wholesalers are. So if you got a property, Tom at Flip Anything USA, just send it to me there. Send it to Tom at Flip Anything USA, and I will take a look. I don't care if it's an industrial building. It could be up to, it could be up to $8 million. It could be a retail strip center. It could even be $20 million, right? It could be. My personal budget right now, I'm actually looking for something in that $8 million range. But I buy the heck up out of houses, individual houses. I bought many in the last just 2 years. I bought a bunch of them. So I'm always looking for houses, and so are my students. And so yeah, you got a wholesale deal. You send it to me, and I will share it out with the rest of the folks in my group. And if anything commercial comes in, I'll be the first to look at it because I am probably the most interested. And so that's it. So what else? Michael, was that your question? Is there anything else? Alberto, what about you? What's on your mind? Anybody? You guys got something you want to talk about? This is a good time to do it. It's really cool. I've got a new video out, a short, and it's just awesome. I've got guys, so many people in my class now are, $1 million doesn't matter to me, but so many people have made well over $1 million in my class now. And others, 100 grand, 200 grand. It's all great. And it's just wonderful to see the excitement and to see that, for every one of these yo-yos that comments on my, goes into one of my videos and says, oh, you're a liar, it can't be done. And then I've got students that have done it, and I just say, well, go look at the testimonials, go see the videos. In fact, if you're new here, you got to go look. You got to go to flipanythingusa.com and watch these videos right here. It's very, very inspirational. It's not like Mr. 84 there, Mr. Ryan Schroep. It's not like, I did 84 deals, yay, and no money to quantify, whether it's a shit deal or a good deal. These are real people making real money, real deals. And I just feel sorry for you folks that are jaded to the point that you don't do anything, that you don't explore, you don't look deeper. You'd write it off as, it's all bullshit. And, it's unfortunate, Alberto wrote, is buying tax liens a good deal? I have no interest in buying tax liens. You'd have to talk to a tax lien guy, but I don't think so. I doubt it. I mean, real estate is just so clean and easy, and you don't have to screw with any sub-2 crap. And I bought sub-2 also, but it's just so clean and easy to buy a property under market and sell it for more. And I've been doing it for 43 years, and you just need to know what you're doing. You just need a little guidance. And you think about you folks that went to school or college or anything else. You probably could have learned what you learned in half the time, but the colleges screw you. They take advantage of you. They have you do all these other, they want you to do all these other classes, just a bunch of bullshit added on there to build, to get more tuition, get more money from you, and so they're kind of scammers too, just like a lot of the fake gurus here that kind of pass people around. And you need to get an LLC. You need to get the AI list, or you need to be a lender, and all this other horseshit. It's so those are you can see if you go watch, just do the history on like some of the people. Look at Chris Crone, look at Pace Morby, look at any of them that you kind of know. Go back and look at them, and you'll see the inconsistency in what they sell. They change. In other words, they'd be selling cars next week if they thought they could make $1 doing it. At least that's my opinion. But hey, Alan in Ohio, how's it going? What's up, Alan? What's on your mind? And I'll tell you what I've sensed across the country right now is people are scared. People are getting worried. Inflation is continuing to go up. I've been telling everybody since 2022, rates are going to keep going up. And I've been argued with other people that, I'm not really argued, I just say they're flat wrong. The interest rates were not going to go down in 2024. They're going to stay the same or go up. And if Greenspan, if Powell follows his, if he sticks to his word, he's only 66% of the way to where he wants to be. He wants to be at 2%. And we're at 3%. I'm talking about the CPI, and so I'm happy with the rates being where they're at. In fact, I felt lucky. I found a bank that is loaning money at 6.7 right now, which still seems kind of high for some people. But you got to remember, I started in 10-12% interest rates back in the 80s, so none of this is new to me. And it doesn't really matter, to be quite honest. Even if your portfolio, if your value property goes down, it's not that big a deal. If your rents are the same, it doesn't matter. If you have a bunch of commercial industrial offices like I do, and the value drops, the value's dropping because the cost of money is so high. But guess what? The rent is still coming in, and the rents are still going up. The rents are still going up, and I hate it, but they are, and you got to change with it because your taxes are going up, your rent's going up, and the property values, you'll see the tax authorities around the country, even if the values go down, they'll adjust the rates to be higher. So you're paying they adjust them up, so you're paying the same tax as you were, this year as opposed to last year, even if they lowered the property taxes, $500,000 on a building or whatever, just say 20%. So I don't know. Anybody seen any of that where you're at? Are are you seeing, or are you even hearing about it? I've got a lot of customers. I've got 200,000 square feet of tenants, many of them commercial, industrial offices. So I get a lot of feedback on business and how busy they are. I got one of my tenants to talk to today. Said her husband's touring Europe right now, trying to drum up business because it's not happening here. And so it is what it is. You're looking to jump back in again. Let's see. I did a few wholesale and sub-2 deals in 2009, 2012, and you're looking to get back in again? Yeah, well, if you get a deal, just send it to me, Tom@flipanythingusa.com. I'll look at anything you got, and I can certainly pass it to, I've got students in all 50 states now, so I can certainly pass it to somebody that, might have an interest. So, anyways, anything else? Otherwise here, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I am not doing the mentorship webinar tonight. I'm not doing it. But you can still go to, let me pull this up. Where'd it go, son? I don't know that we're going to get it. Let's see. Yeah. Anyways, just go to flipanythingusa.com, and you'll see right here in the upper right-hand corner, you just go straight to mentorship. Apply for mentorship, because ultimately that's what you want to do. I give you my best advice. I'll talk to anybody that fills out that mentorship form. So you probably really, you can have 15 minutes with me, which is expensive. I charge, by the way, if you have a phone call with me, I can point you in the right direction. I can help assess your situation that you're in, whatever it is, and help you make a better decision. I'm not impressed with Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey has been a television personality and made, really good money as such, as being, just a talking head. And I don't doubt that he's rolled his money. Robert Kiyosaki, same thing. They've rolled their money into buying real estate, but they didn't build it. They didn't start with real estate and become rich. They didn't start with real estate. And that's really my problem with, and I was actually, talking to somebody else, and, these fake gurus, I doubt, I doubt Pace Morby's ever made $1 million on real estate. I don't think he has, but he's taken in $40 million in student revenue, or something like that. That's my understanding. Why anybody would be foolish enough to spend money with somebody that hasn't established that they've made millions, or even hundreds of thousands, right? It's silly. It's absolutely silly. But people are stupid. People are not very bright. People are trusting. Trust but verify is a great statement. You should trust but verify. Don't hand your money over until you verify that they have done it. And that's what I demonstrate in every time I do a webinar. I show that I've actually made millions of dollars on apartments, millions of dollars on land, millions of dollars on houses and commercial and offices. AB wrote, I really only used bandit signs back in '09. That's the best avenue you use to get the most amount of deals. Yeah, whatever works for you, there's all kinds of different approaches you can take. And the ones that you have to work the hardest for are usually the most profitable. And that's what I teach my students. And I'm not going to elaborate too much on that subject because that is gold. Are you still thinking of doing a meetup in Tampa? Yeah, I am actually. Maybe I'll hit Ben Mall up, maybe rent one of his hotels or something. I don't know. I actually, in all honesty, the best meetup we could have would be right here in Austin, Texas, because then I could give, the people that are in the club, the people that are in the mentorship, I'll give them a tour. I'll show them the assets that made me rich. There's a story about every one of them. And I think that would be a really, I've actually done it for some of my students that have come visited me. And they all were like, wow, this is cool, and it kind of gives you something to work for, work toward, right? It's always good to have a role model, and that's kind of what I've become, a role model that I want what Tom wants, right? I had guys, there was a guy named Keith. I want what Keith has. I want what John has. I want what Hank has. These are role models in my life, guys that were very successful, and all of them owned real estate. And, that's what you do. They call it role modeling, right? I'll buy anywhere. AB, I got students in Hawaii. If I wasn't interested, somebody else will. Listen, I don't like to go far away, but if the deal was big enough where I could, justify the management, but I don't even have to worry about that. I have students all over the country now. So if you brought me something, I'll just turn it over to my Ohio students, and and they'll, if they're interested, they'll take it off your hands. But I can tell you, my students make money, and they expect to have a nice delta on anything that they're going to buy. So just keep that in mind. So I think I'm going to call it quits. I'm going to go have a bottle of wine and have some food. And I'm not going to do the webinar tonight, but I will. Anybody that fills out, goes in here you can fill out the webinar form here. But really, in all honesty, don't do that. Fill out this. Apply for mentorship, because that way you'll get a yes or no from me right away. And I'll talk to you, and I'll give you the best advice I can to do what you can do with what you got, which I think is really smart. And if you're smart, you're thinking about that sort of thing. You got just the amount of millionaires I have in my class now, new millionaires, new real estate millionaires, and these are guys anywhere from 35 to 55 years old. It is a big deal. AB Road, I seen a Red Lobster, I guess a restaurant for $3 million. And they're going out of business. Yeah. No, listen, restaurant business has become a very tough business, and I have a lot of people that push food out of the doors that I own. I own the buildings, but they're inside building. They're making the food and selling it, and it's a tough business. It's a tough business, and just think about how expensive food is. It's bad enough buying groceries for many people, than rather than. Even much worse, going to a restaurant and paying somebody to cook that expensive food for you. So, yeah, it's, I would just tell you, it's not the end of the world. In the 70s, we had a downturn like this, and I wasn't an active buyer because I was a kid in the 70s. But I'll tell you what, I suffered the downturn. I was getting free lunch in school, powdered milk, welfare. The family's getting welfare. We're living in not such a great place. Not such a good neighborhoods, but we're going to survive it. But what's happening right now, the adjustment, this is purely my opinion, is that what happens when you have the high inflation like this and the high interest rates, and they were much, much higher before this, is everything adapts. It just takes time. It takes time for wages to go up, and that's wages going up isn't going to settle at all. Values are going to go down, wages are going to go up, and people just kind of get settled into, now, the $12 hamburger now. It's just, that's what they have to do. A hotel is a business. There's a property that I looked at buying. Actually, another guy got it. That's actually pretty successful guy. I'll show it to you. I got to follow it by the road here. Yeah, hang on. Here we go. All right. It's a property. I'm going to get my bearings here. Oh, there's Galt. There's Shoal Creek. Yeah, it's right over here. I think this was a Holiday Inn. Yeah, I may be wrong a little bit, but yeah, I think this was it. This was a hotel. Yep, this is it. This is a hotel, and you can see little swimming pool like hotels have, and when you used to come in this place, you come in, drive through here, right, and pay for your room, and then your rooms were over here. Well, it didn't do well. It didn't really do particularly well. And so another guy, kind of a big attorney guy that's also an investor, done really well, he bought this place. I think it's this place. He bought this place and just turned it into business offices. In other words, so you could have an office, or have a place to stay, or you could turn it, keep it as an apartment if you wanted to. But, I thought that was a pretty good play, and I was looking at it. I didn't quite have the money at the time to do it. But I was looking at it, and I was thinking similarly, and not exactly that, but he did it. He actually made it happen. And so, you got to remember, you got to think outside of the box a little bit and trust yourself. You may see something that nobody else does. And, the beauty of real estate is that, you can negotiate any deal. As long as two people agree, you can negotiate the craziest deal in the world. Look, my first deal I bought, I would never have expected that I would have got it. It's even hard to imagine to get something like that today, but that was, $500 out of my pocket, 6-month escrow. I got possession of the property. I got to live and use the property for those 6 months before I bought it. That's how I got my down payment, was having that 6 months of rent-free. So AB was, we're in a 70s, 80s type of market like stagflation. I don't pretend to be an expert other than what I've experienced and seen, and I think that is the best thing, and it's been, a good barometer and guide for me. But, the bottom line is when you've had a radical change like we've had lately, interest rates are high, properties were very expensive, now they're going down, but people are upside down on a lot of the mortgages, they're stuck in them. It just stands to reason that there's just going to be a time element. Wages are going to go up some, and at the same time, values are going to go down. You know, I mean, you know, government isn't gonna cut back on anything, so we're still gonna be, you know, bearing the tax burden of all the stupid spending that goes on. But that's just how it is. So, anyways, hey, hit that subscribe button, and if you would, I'd appreciate it. And we'll look to see you guys here again sometime soon. But I'm gonna call it quits, and we'll look to see you guys soon. And anyways, so thanks for watching. Let me see.